This is another podcast from Alpha Business Media. Okay, let's dive into something really interesting today. You've brought us some source material that looks at urban life, specifically in cities like Kathmandu, Pokhara, and Biratnagar in Nepal. But it kind of flips the script on how we usually think about city problems.
That's right. Yeah. Instead of just listing all the frustrations, the traffic jams, the piles of garbage, finding a decent workspace.
Yeah.
This article makes a pretty compelling argument. It says these aren't just problems for like overloaded government agencies.
Right.
They are, in fact, significant business opportunities.
Hidden treasure maps, basically, for entrepreneurs who are willing to look a bit closer. The source we're unpacking today is called Urban Problems, Business Opportunities, Innovations in Waste Management, Logistics, and Co-working in Nepal's Cities. So it's all about how these daily inconveniences could actually be, well, breeding grounds for profitable, tech-driven, and maybe even socially impactful companies.
Exactly. And our mission in this deep dive is really to explore that idea. We'll look at how these specific urban challenges, the ones identified in the source, can be reframed as markets.
Okay.
And we'll dig into the proposed business models that are aiming to tackle them head-on, turning those pain points into profit and progress. It's about understanding not just the issues, but the kind of ingenious ways they might be addressed.
And the article breaks it down into three main areas. Let's just jump straight into the first one. It's probably one of the most visible urban challenges anywhere, right? Waste management.
Yeah, and the source really zeroes in on the scale of the problem, particularly in Kathmandu Valley. It highlights that the area generates over 1,200 tons of municipal solid waste.
Wow. 1,200 tons.
Every single day.
Every single day. That is an enormous amount to manage. And what happens to most of it, according to this analysis? Where does it go?
Well, it points out that the vast majority goes unsorted straight to the Sizdal landfill. And the Sizdal landfill, as the article puts it pretty starkly, is an ecological time bomb.
An ecological time bomb. So it's way past its capacity.
Oh, yeah, long past it.
So we're talking major environmental consequences, pollution, land, air, water, posing significant health threats too, I imagine. The current system sounds incredibly basic and overwhelmed.
It does. And the source emphasizes there's very little waste sorting happening at the household level, which means, minimal valuable materials are being recovered.
Right. Everything just gets mixed together.
Precisely. The traditional model is just linear: collect, transport, bury. The key insight the article offers here is the opportunity lies in transforming this linear process into a circular economy.
Okay, circular.
It's about stopping seeing waste as just garbage and starting to recognize it as a potentially valuable resource, just waiting to be unlocked.
And it presents a couple of specific business models that could maybe achieve this. The first one sounds like it brings modern tech to a very old service.
Right.
An Uber for trash, or maybe a smart collection platform.
Yes, exactly. The core concept is a mobile app and a web platform designed to connect the waste generators. So, households, businesses, restaurants directly with private waste collection services. It aims to solve that chaotic, unsorted collection problem we just mentioned.
Okay, but how do you actually get people to sort their trash using an app? That behavior change feels like the really big hurdle, doesn't it?
That's where the clever part comes in, according to the source. The platform builds in a direct incentive system.
Ah, okay.
Users who sort their waste properly into organics, plastics, paper, glass, e-waste, they get rewards. This could be like discounts on their collection fees, maybe cash back, or loyalty points they can use with partner businesses. It basically makes sorting financially attractive.
That's smart. You're directly rewarding the action you want people to take. And how does the platform help the collectors themselves? Is it just about getting sorted waste?
Well, that's part of it, but it also brings efficiency. The platform optimizes collection routes based on user requests and the types of waste needing collection.
Ah, so less guesswork for them.
Exactly. Less wasted time, less fuel for the collectors. They know exactly what they're picking up and where, potentially increasing their capacity too.
And how does a platform like this actually, make money?
The article outlines a few streams. There are subscription fees from the users, both households and businesses. Then they're selling the bulk sorted materials like plastics or paper to larger recycling processors.
Right.
And interestingly, selling anonymized data on waste generation patterns back to the municipalities. That can help them with better urban planning.
Huh. Monetizing urban data from garbage collection. That's definitely a modern twist on a very old problem. It really shows how technology can layer value on top of a basic service.
Yeah, and what's insightful here is how they propose using that digital layer. It introduces structure, transparency, and these behavioral incentives into a system that's currently very manual, lacks accountability sometimes, potentially driving much higher recycling rates.
Okay, so that's one approach focusing on collection and sorting. What's the second business model the source explores for waste?
This model targets the largest single component of the waste stream heading to landfills: organic waste. The source points out that something like 60 to 70% of the waste ending up in Sistol is actually organic material.
60 to 70%. That's a massive chunk. If you can divert that, you'd make a huge dent in the landfill problem itself.
Absolutely. So the solution proposed is a network of decentralized organic recycling centers. Think small, local processing sites dotted throughout different city neighborhoods.
So instead of trucking heavy, wet, organic waste miles away, you handle it much closer to where it's generated.
Precisely. These centers would rapidly convert food and garden waste into high-quality organic fertilizer. The source mentions methods like aerobic composting or even vermicomposting.
Vermicomposting. Using worms, right?
Yeah, using earthworms, they're very efficient for breaking down organics quickly.
I've heard about that. Very effective for turning food scraps into really nutrient-rich soil amendments. Where would these local centers get their raw material, the organic waste?
Well, they could source it directly from households and businesses using that Uber for Trash platform we just discussed.
Ah, okay, tying it together.
Or through dedicated contracts with places that generate a lot of food waste, like restaurants, hotels, maybe even large apartment complexes.
Makes sense. And the finished product, the fertilizer. Who are the potential buyers for that?
The article identifies several markets. There's apparently a growing trend of urban gardening people using rooftops and balconies, plus nurseries, flower shops, and even organic farms in the areas surrounding the cities.
Right.
The centers could also potentially charge businesses, like restaurants, a fee for taking their organic waste off their hands in an environmentally responsible way.
It's a perfect example of closing the loop, isn't it? Taking a waste product and turning it into a valuable resource, potentially for food production again. And keeping it local reduces transport costs, environmental impact.
Definitely. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, diverting organic waste from landfills dramatically cuts down on methane production. Methane's a really potent greenhouse gas. So these localized solutions offer significant environmental benefits alongside the business opportunity.
Okay, so moving from mountains of trash to tangled webs of traffic, the source next dives into urban logistics and the chaos on the streets.
Yeah, this is another really familiar pain point in many rapidly growing cities, and Kathmandu is no exception, according to the source. It paints a picture of, well, narrow streets, a huge number of private vehicles, very limited parking, and just constant gridlock.
Sounds like a daily headache for pretty much everyone trying to get around.
It is, and for businesses, especially those relying on deliveries, it creates a major last-mile problem.
The last mile, that's the final, often toughest part of the delivery, right?
Exactly. Getting goods from a distribution point right to the customer's door. In this kind of environment, it's slow, it's expensive, and it adds to air pollution. Your traditional courier services often just aren't agile enough.
So the opportunity here is creating logistics solutions that can somehow cut through that chaos, be faster, more reliable, and ideally cleaner too.
Precisely. And the first business model proposed here is hyperlocal delivery by electric scooters.
Ah, ultra-fast delivery using electric vehicles. So that directly tackles the speed issue and the pollution issue at the same time.
It does. The concept is basically a platform offering very rapid delivery services. They're aiming for timelines like, say, 15 to 60 minutes, but focusing on shorter distances within specific neighborhoods or zones.
Okay.
And the key is using small, maneuverable electric scooters or maybe bicycles that can navigate crowded streets much more easily than cars or trucks can.
Who would typically use a service like this?
The source suggests the primary target is small and medium businesses. So local restaurants, pharmacies, online stores, maybe corner shops. Businesses that have goods to deliver but maybe can't afford or manage their own dedicated fleet of couriers.
Right. And how does the platform make it smart? Is it just about the scooters?
No, it aggregates the delivery requests from all these partner businesses. Then, a smart algorithm dispatches the orders to the nearest available courier on an electric scooter or bike, optimizing the routes in real time.
Okay, so efficiency built in.
Yeah, and both the business and the end customer can track the delivery progress through an app.
Real-time tracking. That's pretty essential for managing expectations with fast delivery, isn't it? How does this kind of service make money?
Revenue seems to come from several sources. There's a commission charged to the partner business on each order fulfilled. Then there's usually a delivery fee paid by the end customer, and potentially a subscription model for businesses that have really high delivery volumes.
This really taps into that explosion in e-commerce and food delivery demand we've seen everywhere, but it tailors it specifically to the challenges of these dense urban areas with tricky traffic. Makes faster delivery accessible to smaller businesses too, which is great.
Yeah, and what's insightful is how the technology isn't just about like tracking where the scooter is. It's about optimizing how people and vehicles move in a complex, pretty unpredictable environment to actually make those ambitious delivery times possible.
Okay, so that's one logistics model. What's the second one the source presents? It also tackles slow e-commerce delivery, you said?
Yes, this one addresses the challenge of getting goods to customers quickly when your main warehouse is, way out on the edge of town or somewhere far from where people actually live. It's the concept of a network of urban micro warehouses, sometimes called dark stores.
Dark stores. That sounds a bit mysterious. What exactly are they? Are they actually dark?
No, the term dark just means they aren't open to the public like a regular shop. They're purely fulfillment centers.
Hmm.
The idea is instead of one massive central warehouse located way out where land is cheaper,
Right.
you have multiple small warehouses located strategically within densely populated residential areas of the city.
Ah, so you're physically positioning the inventory much, much closer to the end customer. How does that work in practice?
Exactly. The company rents relatively small spaces,
Sure.
maybe only 50 to 100 square meters, in key spots throughout the city. Online stores that partner with them stock their most popular products in these micro warehouses.
And the benefit is speed, I assume.
Huge benefit in speed.
Mm.
When a customer places an online order, instead of picking and packing it at that distant main warehouse and then shipping it all the way across the city,
Uh-huh.
the order gets fulfilled and shipped from the nearest micro warehouse that has the item in stock. This can slash delivery times from maybe a day or two down to just a few hours.
Ah, okay. So it drastically shortens that crucial last leg of the journey. It basically enables true express delivery for e-commerce, even in congested cities. How do these micro warehouse networks make money?
Their primary model is usually fulfillment as a service. So they offer partner e-commerce businesses a whole package: storage of their goods, order picking, packing, and then handing off to couriers, potentially even using that hyperlocal electric scooter service we just discussed.
Connecting the dots again.
Yeah. And this is typically monetized through maybe a subscription fee or a fee per order they process, or perhaps a commission based on the value of the goods they handle for the partner.
This sounds like it solves a major headache for e-commerce companies trying to compete on delivery speed in these challenging urban environments. It turns a logistics problem into maybe a competitive advantage and really improves the online shopping experience for customers.
Absolutely. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, this idea of distributed micro-warehousing, it's a growing global trend. It's really driven by rising customer expectations for instant or same-day delivery. It's kind of an adaptation of logistics infrastructure to meet the demands of the digital age in a physically constrained urban setting.
All right, so we've tackled trash and getting things delivered. The final urban challenge the source explores as an opportunity. This one's about the changing nature of work, right? And the need for better workspaces.
That's right. The article points out a really significant shift in the workforce in cities like Kathmandu. You've got a growing number of remote workers, freelancers, startups, and particularly IT professionals. Many of them are actually working for international companies, but based locally.
And working from home. Well, it isn't always the productive paradise, it might sound like, is it?
Far from it, according to this analysis. It mentions things like unreliable infrastructure, frequent power outages, unstable internet connections.
Yeah, that can be killer for productivity.
Totally. Plus, the unavoidable distractions of home life. It makes consistent, focused work a real challenge for many. And while some co-working spaces might exist, the source suggests they're often either too expensive or maybe they don't meet modern standards for infrastructure and comfort.
Okay, so there's a clear demand gap. A need for a reliable, flexible, suitable workspace that's not the traditional office and not always home either. The opportunity lies in creating spaces that truly serve this new kind of workforce.
And the source proposes two pretty distinct models for this. The first one is niche co-working hubs.
Niche, so not just generic desks and Wi-Fi, something more specific.
Exactly. The idea is to move away from that kind of one-size-fits-all co-working model and create specialized spaces. Spaces tailored specifically to the unique needs of different professional groups.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Can you give some examples from the article? What kind of niches are we talking about?
Absolutely. They suggest, for instance, a creative hub. This would be designed specifically for people like designers, photographers, videographers, maybe podcasters.
Ah.
This space would have specialized, often expensive equipment. Things like photo studios, soundproof recording booths, powerful editing workstations, stuff these professionals often can't afford or easily set up at home.
That makes so much sense. Providing access to those high-cost specialized resources is a huge value proposition. It's not just a desk.
Exactly. Then there's a tech hub focused on programmers, software developers, tech startups. This would offer features like, say, high-performance computing infrastructure, super reliable high-speed internet, specialized meeting rooms designed maybe for pitches or collaborations, and even space specifically for tech meetups or hackathons.
So you're building a space that not only provides the physical resources, but also fosters a community around a specific industry. That's clever.
And one more example they give is a wellness hub. This would cater to professionals who prioritize well-being alongside their work. It might feature dedicated quiet zones, maybe meditation or yoga areas, perhaps a small gym, and just generally an emphasis on tranquility and focus.
That's a really interesting blend, acknowledging that work today isn't just about sitting at a desk for 8 hours straight. How would these specialized hubs make money? Is it just membership fees?
Well, revenue comes from multi-tiered membership packages, yeah. That could range from flexible drop-in or hot desking options up to dedicated desks or even small private offices for teams.
Okay.
But they can also monetize by renting out that specific specialized equipment or rooms like the recording studio, and by hosting paid workshops, courses, or networking events that are relevant to the niche they serve.
These niche hubs seem almost built to foster strong communities naturally, don't they? Because the people sharing the space already have common professional interests and needs beyond just needing Wi-Fi and coffee.
Yeah, and what's fascinating here is how identifying those very specific pain points and resource needs within professional communities like, I really need a sound studio, or I need access to specific computing power, how that can unlock demand and create a truly compelling workspace offering. It's more than just space.
Okay, so that's the niche approach. What's the second co-working model the source suggests? You said it sounded perhaps more scalable.
Yeah, this one is called a distributed network of cafe co-working.
Cafe co-working. Okay, is that basically like formalizing working from coffee shops, making it official?
Pretty much, yeah. It's presented as a lightweight and highly scalable model. It avoids the significant capital investment needed to build and fit out dedicated co-working spaces from scratch.
Right, that's a big upfront cost.
Huge. So the core idea here is an aggregator platform that partners with existing businesses, cafes, restaurants, maybe even hotels, places that have unused space during their off-peak hours, which is often the daytime.
Ah, leveraging existing infrastructure that's just sitting idle for parts of the day. That's smart.
Exactly. The partner establishments agree to make a portion of their space available. The platform might help ensure these areas have robust Wi-Fi, enough power outlets, maybe some slightly more comfortable seating or tables suitable for working on a laptop.
And how do users actually access this network of spots? Is it pay-as-you-go per cafe?
No, users subscribe through a single mobile app. Their subscription gives them access to any available workstation within the entire network of partnered cafes, restaurants, or hotel lobbies across the city.
Oh, wow. That offers incredible flexibility, doesn't it? You could work near home one day and you're meeting the next.
Exactly. It's very convenient for the user. You're not tied to one single physical location.
So how does this model generate revenue for everyone involved? The platform, the cafes?
Well, the platform earns revenue by selling daily, weekly, or monthly passes to these mobile workers. Then, a percentage of that subscription revenue is shared back with the partner establishments.
Okay.
So this gives the cafes or hotels some extra income during their slower hours. And they also benefit from new potential customers coming in who might buy coffee or lunch or drinks while they work.
It really sounds like a win-win-win scenario. Flexible, accessible workspace for the user, additional revenue and new customers for the partner businesses, and the platform makes money by aggregating it all and providing the access. It seems much quicker to roll out than building dedicated spaces, too.
Absolutely. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, this kind of distributed model aligns perfectly with that increasing demand for flexibility in where and how people work. It also ingeniously leverages underutilized urban capacity, essentially turning empty tables into productive workspaces.
So, reflecting on everything we've discussed from this source, It really does reframe the narrative around urban problems in Nepal cities, doesn't it? It turns these significant challenges in waste, logistics, workspaces into pretty concrete opportunities for innovation and, well, business development.
That's the fundamental argument the article is making, yeah. It suggests that the acute, very visible difficulties of daily life in these cities aren't necessarily obstacles to growth. They're actually indicators of unmet needs and inefficient systems. And those conditions are prime territory for entrepreneurial intervention and market creation.
And the ideas we've explored, they seem to share common threads. There's leveraging modern technology, definitely. Building community seems important. And aiming for that triple win you mentioned earlier.
Yes, the source really emphasizes the potential for businesses to simultaneously achieve profit, for the founders and investors, positive impact on the planet by improving environmental conditions, and benefits for people through creating jobs and providing valuable services.
It's a powerful perspective shift, really, encouraging entrepreneurs and investors to look at urban dysfunction not as a deterrent, but almost as a blueprint outlining where the most promising new markets might lie.
Yeah, what's particularly fascinating is how these are solutions that seem born from the specific constraints and challenges of the local environment, the traffic, the waste issues, yet they employ modern scalable business models that we see being used globally.
It really makes you look at your own city differently, actually. So here's maybe a final thought for you, our listener, to mull over after this deep dive. Think about a significant urban challenge in your own city or region, something that causes daily frustration. Based on these examples from Nepal, which show problems being turned into opportunities through tech, community, and smart models, could that challenge be hiding a business opportunity right there in plain sight? What stands out to you?